An American attorney, politician, and diplomat, John Kerry, once said that gender-based violence anywhere is a threat to peace and security everywhere. It's NAPTIP on the Move, and I'm Angela Agwigi. Sexual and gender-based violence is a global problem. Our package will enlighten you on the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence and the efforts of NAPTIP in this regard. Don't go away. Stay with NAPTIP on the Move.
One of the world's most prevalent human rights violations. It could be physical, emotional, or psychological and sexual violence. Sexual and gender-based violence has severe consequences, especially on women and girls. Over the years, all over the world, there has been several campaigns to end sexual and gender-based violence, including the 16 Days of Activism.
The 16 Days of Activism against gender-based violence is an annual international campaign that kicks off on the 25th of November and runs through the 10th of December, which is Human Rights Day. It was actually started by a group of activists in 1991 and continues to be commemorated each year around the world. The 16 Days of Activism is used to scale and amplify issues of gender-based violence and to call for its prevention and elimination. For 2022, the theme is Unite, Activism to End Violence Against Women and Girls. And this theme simply calls for collective action against one of the world's most persistent violations of human rights.
As always, NAPTIP lined up several activities to mark the 2022 16 Days of Activism against gender-based violence.
NAPTIP's 16 Days of Activism will focus on scaling and amplifying actions against sexual and gender-based violence at the national and grassroots levels. So we'll commence by broadcasting daily podcasts throughout the 16 days period. So just, short 5-minute videos on different thematic areas, which will be shared on the NAPTIP YouTube channels and other social media platforms. We'll also have, deliberate and consistent social media campaigns, as well as daily sensitizations in different high-risk areas like motor parks, in markets, religious places, and also in schools. We'll have our staple work against violence against women. This is something that we conduct every year in partnership with other government agencies to create, basically just to create awareness in the FCT. So for this year, we'll be doing the work in collaboration with the FCT Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Response Team, in collaboration with Justice Research Institute, JRI, National Human Rights Commission, and of course our partner NGOs, Wordclef, MICAS, Daughters of Abraham, and basically any NGO, CSO or community-based organization that wants to be a part of it. We already have daily jingles that have been airing back to back this past week on 4 national radio stations, and these jingles will air till the second week of December, and it's being supported by Center for Democracy and Development, CDD. Then we'll be hosting our Series 4 of the NAPTIP Survivors Co-Mentoring platform. It will be hosted at our shelter, and this Co-Survivors series platform will be curated by the survivors themselves. For this Series 4, they will be having medical outreach. We just started a book club for them, and book club will be launched on that day. And they will also have series of entertaining activities like painting, drawing, movie nights, and the likes of it. Then we all know that most of the crime of sexual and gender-based violence happens at the community level, and as such we must continue to target those cultural norms and values that make sexual and gender-based violence fester. And to address this, there will be grassroots engagement at the different area councils in the FCT, in collaboration with the wives of the traditional rulers in the FCT.
In curbing all forms of violence, including sexual and gender-based violence, NAPTIP implements the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act of 2015 in the FCT.
The implementation is carried out in collaboration with relevant stakeholders. Obviously, when we talk about the enormity and the different trends of sexual and gender-based violence, it's not something that NAPTIP or government can do on its own. So in order to get that traction and record measurable milestones, we definitely have to collaborate with relevant stakeholders, and to effectively operationalize the task of collaboration and coordination, 2 platforms were set up. So the first platform is the high-level multi-agency task team, which comprises of all core referral agencies like the police. You have NSCDC, which is the civil defense. You have the Federal Ministry of Women's Affairs. You have the National Center for Women Development, National Human Rights Commission, National Bureau of Statistics. We also have NIMC, we have EFCC, Correctional Services, and we have the Judiciary. So these are the core referral agencies. And the second platform is called the Service Providers Accountability Resource Committee, known as the SPARC, with members drawn from different service provider community like NGOs, non-governmental organizations, civil society organizations, and community-based organizations. So the agency has a department as well as a unit that plays key roles in ensuring coordination and rapid response to all cases of violence against persons in the FCT. So we have what we call the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Department. We also have the Rapid Response Squad, and here at NAPTIP we apply what we call a 24 hours all hands on deck on all cases of sexual and gender-based violence, because we know that when it comes to issues like that, time is of the essence. So for every report we get, we also attach a sense of priority to it. NAPTIP operates a shelter in the FCT which caters for victims of human trafficking as well as survivors of sexual and gender-based violence In addition to sheltering them, we feed them, we clothe them, we provide medical support, we provide legal assistance, we provide psychosocial support, we provide different streams of empowerment opportunity, whether formal or informal. Then we also do family tracing and family reunification. We have to be sure that families are willing to take back the survivors, and we have to be sure that whatever environment that these survivors are going back to are safe and healthy environments.
As a preventive measure, the agency is inaugurating Human Trafficking and Violence Against Persons vanguards in federal government colleges nationwide. 45 schools have been inaugurated so far, and 50 school counselors have also been trained in the FCT. NAPTIP has intensified efforts to ensure that cases of sexual and gender-based violence are curbed to the barest minimum.
The agency appointed, trained, and deployed 12 of its officers to serve as protection officers in the 6 area councils of the FCT, as provided under the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2015. The agency also established Violence Against Persons vanguards in federal government unity schools across the country to enhance awareness on issues of VAP among young people and the capacity of NAPTIP officers to act accordingly to redress violations to all, especially children. Under the NAPTIP disability policy, the agency collects VAP annual implementation report as stipulated in the VAP Act. The agency trains and empowers victims of sexual and gender-based violence.
NAPTIP also appointed a Violence Against Persons coordinator in the FCT.
So we have a VAP coordinator as stipulated in Section 2 of the VAP Act. The VAP coordinator is responsible for the prevention of domestic violence in the FCT and also for the submission of an annual VAP report. The agency presented its first VAP report in last year. That will be the 2020 VAP report, the first report since the enactment of the VAP Act, and we are currently working on the 2021 VAP report.
The agency is the custodian of the National Sex Offenders Database.
NAPTIP is also the custodian of the National Sex Offenders Database, which as at today has almost 1,000 cases uploaded to it, and 7 states have also onboarded their own sex offenders register to the National Sex Offenders database, and we are hoping that more states we do same. This National Sex Offenders database was launched in 2019, and the reason why it was launched was basically for naming and shaming. In recent times, we've been getting requests from schools, we've been getting requests from organizations who want to hire people, we've been getting requests from individuals who also want to hire helps, just to be sure that they don't have a history of domestic or of sexual violence. So in terms of reportage, between January 2022 and October 2022, we've received 698 working reports on sexual and gender-based violence cases, and also 364 reports through our call centers. We currently have 84 cases in various courts in the FCT, and we've been able to secure 4 convictions in 2022.
Reporting cases of sexual and gender-based violence is paramount.
To be able to, to end SGBV, we need to consistently challenge the attitude that perpetuates, rationalize, and normalize, this kind of violence. And this is not something NAPTIP can do on its own. This is not something the federal government of Nigeria can do on its own. Everybody should and must, get involved. And there are, as human beings, there are minimalist steps that we all can take, like just simply posting on social media. You know, it doesn't have to be anything elaborate, just something as simple as a definition of domestic violence. What does it mean? You know, just posts that are aimed as educating people. You'll be surprised what, you know, people term as normal. People find themselves in an abusive situation. They don't even know they're in an abusive situation. And also, do not protect abusers, report them, because if you protect them, you are being complicit. That person is abusing somebody else. Tomorrow, that person might be abusing you or abusing, you know, somebody you know. So we shouldn't have this lackadaisical attitude, you know, in terms of protecting abusers. If we do that, you know, that vicious circle will continue. So we should learn to always report abusers. Always remember that every domestic and sexual violence case is a potential murder case. You see something, you say something, report all cases of domestic and sexual violence to NAPTIP.
NAPTIP is working to ensure that perpetrators are brought to book. Support NAPTIP to end all forms of violence against persons.
Indeed, support NAPTIP to end sexual and gender-based violence. Our event segment is up next. It's still NAPTIP on the move. The ambassador of Denmark, Sune Grogstrup, and his team recently paid a courtesy visit to the Director General of NAPTIP, Dr. Fatima Waziri Aziz, stating that the visit is aimed at improving the existing partnership between NAPTIP and the Danish government. He also commended Dr. Waziri Aziz for all the achievements made so far. Receiving the ambassador and his team, the Director General of NAPTIP highlighted the need for collaboration to stem the tide of human trafficking. In attendance were officials of NAPTIP. Partnership is one of NAPTIP's five-prong approach in its fight against human trafficking in Nigeria. The National Industrial Court in Benin City, Edo State, presided over by Honorable Justice Adeola Adewemimo, has sentenced the 42-year-old woman, Joyce Amenze Ogerahi, to 1 year imprisonment with a fine of 1 million naira on a 2-count charge of procurement for prostitution, contrary to Section 16, Subsection 1 of the Trafficking in Persons, Prohibition, Enforcement and Administration Act of 2015. These excited women are the beneficiaries of the 2022 Nigerian Breweries PLC Empowerment Program. The graduation ceremony was held recently in Abuja. In attendance were representatives of honorable ministers, including Women Affairs, Federal Capital Territory, as well as the Director General of NAPTIP, Hakimi of Galadimawa, and officials of the Nigerian Breweries PLC. Director Corporate Affairs Shade Morgan welcomed all present on behalf of the management of the Nigerian Breweries PLC.
It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the graduation ceremony of the 2022 Nigerian Breweries PLC. It is really just our honor to have this kind of opportunity to continue to give back to our people in line with the corporate philosophy that we have as a company, which is winning with Nigeria. We are graduating a set of 103 outstanding young women from 6 communities, mainly Galadimawa, Kabuza, Karu. Are you waving your hand? As you are here, your community, Kubwa, lovely Kubwa ladies, Kuje, yes, and Lube.
The facilitator of the empowerment program, Mayowa Adigbile of the Ashake Foundation, spoke about the training and thanked the Nigerian Breweries PLC for the opportunity. Representatives of the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, Gloria Onwuzurike, and Honorable Minister of State, Federal Capital Territory, Omolola Olanikbekun, in their remarks, commended the Nigerian Breweries PLC for the laudable initiative. Speaking on behalf of the Director General of NAPTIP, Kehinde Akomolafe enlightened the firm on human trafficking.
Especially, I want to appreciate the Nigeria Brewery PLC for this lofty program. Human trafficking is man's inhumanity to man. It is an evil about man and for man. Traffickers are not ghosts, they are human beings. They prey on people's ignorance, they prey on their vulnerability. They will tell you, I will do this, I will do that for you. All because they know maybe you don't have enough power. When we're talking about power as a woman, we are not talking about physical strength. We're talking about your ability, your independence, and ability to make money and start to say no. Since the inception, we have rescued over 18,000 women and children who were either taken abroad for prostitution, domestic servitude, child labor, and even recently we have people donating organs, selling their organs, like we know, which is inhuman to us. Sometimes people are forced to live in a room where they eat, sleep, wake, and even defecate. Their freedom is taken away from them. They are made to sleep with as many as 30 men in a day. Why am I telling you all of this? Because you have escaped. Now you have power, courtesy of Nigeria Breweries PLC.
Climax of the event was a tour of the exhibition stands. This was followed by the presentation of certificates and startup kits to the beneficiaries. Hakimi of Galadimawa Chief Musa Bardi delivered the vote of thanks. With a sense of fulfillment, Director Corporate Affairs speaks further on the program.
Nigerian Breweries PLC has a very strong sustainability ambition, which we call Brewing a Better World. Now, under that ambition, our focus for the sustainability pillar and impact on community is on youth and women. So starting from our host communities, we have selected annually since 2019 a cohort of youth and women that are able to be taught skills, various vocational skills. Today we are graduating 472 women and youth across 6 states in Nigeria, and we're very proud to see these outstanding young men and women who are graduating after 3 months of intense teaching, tutelage by experts in various fields, from solar panel making to hairdressing to confectionery to even bag making. I've seen some beautiful items on display here today in Abuja, and this is just one of the 6 graduation ceremonies that we are holding. The other locations include Lagos, Ota, Kaduna, and we even have in the east, we have in Aba as well, and Awomama. Having one of our special guests being NAPTIP here today, which is the agency that is responsible for recovering and rehabilitating women that have been trafficked. Now that is definitely a very disadvantaged group. It was very exciting to learn that 18,000 women to date have been rescued by this agency. So definitely when you talk about expansion, this will be one of the underserved groups that in the 2023 edition we shall also be including.
The empowerment program, which is empowering our women and youth for growth, is not only ensuring job and wealth creation, but also helping to curb human trafficking in Nigeria. It's time to bring you an account of a victim. Keep watching.
When I was 11, my uncle asked me that if I see my period, I should told him, no the wife. And I said, okay. And I started seeing my period. I told him, he said I should enter bathroom. After I entered the bathroom, he now washed me. After I finished washing me, he now gave me money to go and buy pad. After buying the pad, he now wear it for me. After wearing it for me, when I was 12, he started using his hand to touch my private part before he started sleeping with me. After sleeping with me, you give me salt. You put salt in water, give me that she drink. So he asked me that not to tell the wife. After some time, I told the wife said that she cannot believe such a thing. She said I'm blind. She started calling me that I'm devil, that I want to stay at home. I said, okay, no problem. I now traveled. And I went to tell my dad. My dad said I should not come back. That is what my uncle is doing. I should not come back. But my brother refused, said I should come back. That is, my uncle cannot do such a thing to me. So I need to come back to continue with my school. I met two ladies that they came to our school to talk about, to advise us that if you have problems, you should tell them. So I told my friend, that is what my uncle is doing to me. They said, okay. Then I go and told them. So they came back. They asked me some questions. They said they are going to take it to the NAPTIP. I said, okay. So then I called the NAPTIP to come and pick me from the school. Then I come and pick me. So they asked me some questions in NAPTIP. I told them this is what my uncle is doing to me. They said I will not go back home. They are going to take me to shelter home. So that's how they take me to shelter. I want to thank NAPTIP for what they have done for me.
For more inquiries and support, or to report cases of suspected human trafficking, violence against persons and child abuse, please call NAPTIP hotline 0703 0000203 or the short code 627, or email us info@naptip.gov.ng. Visit our website www.naptip.gov.ng. Follow us on our social media platforms at NAPTIP Nigeria, or watch our videos on YouTube.
Time is up, but I must thank you for keeping a date with us and urge you to join us again next week. My name is Angela Agbeki. Goodbye.